Okay, good morning, everyone. So, our topic is about the agricultural and economic growth, agriculture and related laws. Okay, so this is the chapter 4 no, of our discussion in agricultural entrepreneurship and marketing. So, at the end of the chapter, you are expected to recognize the rule of implementing the laws in agriculture, learn the history of the Agrarian Reform Law and relevant laws in agricultural sector, know the different programs enabled by the government in addressing the sustainable agriculture, and of course, we will start on the discussion of the agriculture and society. So agriculture is more than farming and ranching. Agriculture perhaps can be described as our food system and resources used to produce the food now and in the future. Issues related to nutrition, food safety, crop and livestock production, the processing, storage, transportation, financing, waste management, marketing, trade, and others. So the need for agricultural laws integrating and monitoring activities involved in the agricultural sector will not only protect the farmers, but also the concerned stakeholders. So the agriculture sector has played a strategic role in the process of economic growth and development in the country, which helps enable food security, poverty alleviation, and overall sustainable development. So the role of laws and policies in the sustainable agriculture. So again, sustainable agriculture is defined in a various ways, but in its simplest form, it means developing agricultural practices which protect the environment while preserving the economic profitability of farmers. So the basis of the concept is that no agricultural system can be successful unless it's designed to sustain the resources necessary for its operation. Okay. First law is RA 7607 o ginatawag nato nga Magna Carta of Small Farmers. So this Republic Act, RA is Republic Act, no? Republic Act 7607. So this Republic Act, this is an act providing a Magna Carta of Small Farmers. So the Declaration of Policy, Section 2, Declaration of Policy, it is declared policy of the state to give the highest priority to the development of agriculture such that equitable distribution of benefits and opportunities is realized through the empowerment of small farmers. Of course, this section, of course, recognizes that the rural development based on growth and equity requires full integration of the women and the youth in the mainstream of development. And of course, to ensure the efficient use and sustainability of land, water, and other productive resources, and the state shall ensure that ecological balance and environmental protection are maintained and observed in its pursuit of the rural development goals. So may mga agrarian reform laws no, mga history. So si President Diosdado Macapagal from 1961 to 1965 enacted the following law, agrarian reform laws. So si President Macapagal kana nga year 1961 to 1965 mao na ang iyang mga laws. Okay, ang iyang gi-enact is the Republic Act number 3844 of August 8, 1963, which is the Agricultural Land Reform Code. Okay, this is the Agricultural Land Reform Code. This is to abolish the shared tenancy, institutionalize leasehold, set retention limit at 75 hectares, invested rights at preemption and redemption for tenant farmers, provided for an administrative machineries for implementation, institutionalize a judicial system of agrarian cases, incorporated extension, marketing, and supervise the credit system of services of the farmer beneficiaries. So the RA was hailed as one that would emancipate the Filipino farmers from the bondage of tenancy. Mapot mo to no ang Agrarian Land Reform Code, Republic Act number 3844. After ni makapagal si President Marcos 1965 to 1986 ang iyang mga law, ang Proclamation number 1081, no? Proclamation number 1081 on September 21, 1972 ushered the period of the new society. So 5 days after the proclamation of martial law, the entire country was proclaimed a land reform area, and simultaneously the Agrarian Reform Program was decreed. So President Marcos enacted the following law, Republic Act number 6389, and this is the Code of Agrarian Reform, and the RA number 6390 of 1971. So this is created the Department of Agrarian Reform and the Agrarian Reform Special Account Fund, and it strengthened the position of the farmers and expanded the scope of agrarian reform. Presidential Decree number 2, enacted in September 26, 1972, declared the country under land reform program, and it enjoined all agencies and offices of the government to extend the full cooperation and assistance to the DAR. And it is also activated the Agrarian Reform Coordinating Council, ERCC. Okay. The Presidential Decree number 27 of October 21, 1972 restricted the land reform scope to tenanted rice and corn lands and set the retention limit at 7 hectares. Then, kang President Corazon Aquino, 1986 to 1992, the Constitution ratified by the Filipino people during the administration of President Aquino provides under Section 21 under Article 2 that the state shall promote the comprehensive rural development and agrarian reform. On June 10, 1988, former President Aquino signed into law Republic Act 6657. Timan-timan ninyo, RA 6657, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law or the CARL, and the law became effective on June 15, 1988. Subsequently, the 4 presidential issuances were released in July 1987 after 48 nationwide consultation before the actual law was enacted. Okay. President Corazon Aquino enacted the following law, Executive Order number 228 on July 16, 1987. It is declared the full ownership to qualify the farmer beneficiaries covered by the PD. Some PD is the Presidential Decree 27, and it is also determined the value remaining unvalued rice and the corn lands subject of PD 27 and provided for the manner of payment by the FBs and mode of compensation to landowners. EO 229 provided mechanism for the implementation of the CARP. Proclamation number 131. This is instituted the CARP as a major program of the government. And the Executive Order 129 streamlined, expanded the power and operation of the DAR. Napo siya Republic Act Notogay Nano 6657. It is the CARL, an act which became effective on June 15 and instituted a comprehensive agrarian reform program to promote the social justice and industrialization, providing the mechanism for its implementation and for other purposes. Napotay EO 405, vested in the Land Bank of the Philippines the responsibility to determine the land valuation and compensation for all lands covered by the CARP. EO 407 accelerated the acquisition and distribution of agricultural land, pasture lands, fish ponds, agroforestry lands, and other lands of the public domain suitable for agriculture. Next, kang President Fidel V. Ramos. Okay, kang President Fidel V. Ramos. Mga law pod is Republic Act 7881 o 1995. Amended the certain provision, amend niya ang provision sa kang CARL nga RA 6657 and exempted the fish ponds and prawns from the coverage of the CARP. Then po siya Republic Act 7905. This is to strengthen the implementation of the CARP. EO 363 is to limit the types of lands that may be converted by setting conditions. Republic Act 8435 mo na yung pinaka-basic, no? Mabalik po ni sa mga pangutana po, labi na sa inyong board exam. Republic Act 8435 o 1997, this is the Agriculture and Fishery Modernization Act or the AFMA. This is plug the legal loopholes in land use conversion. And Republic Act 8532 provided an additional 50 billion pesos for CARP and extended its implementation for another 10 years. Then, ang kang President Estrada, unang taon ng mga 1998 to 2000, iyahapon is ERA para sa mahirap. And this was the battle cry that endured President Estrada and made him very popular during the 1998 presidential election. So President Estrada initiated and enacted the following law. Ang ihapon is EO 151, the Farmers Trust Fund. This is to allow the voluntary consolidation of the small farm into medium and large-scale integrated enterprise. So during his administration, President Estrada launched the Magkabalikat para sa kaunlarang agraryo or magsasaka. And the DAR forged into the joint ventures with private investors into agrarian sector to make the FBs competitive. However, the Estrada administration was short-lived, so the masses who put him into office demanded for his ouster. Then, 10 years kang President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. The agrarian reform under the Arroyo administration is anchored on the vision that is to make the countryside economically viable for the Filipino family by building partnership and promoting social equity and new economic opportunities. So na siya land tenure improvement, provision of support services, and the infrastructure projects. Ang na po siya Kalahi R zone or the Kalahi Agrarian Reform zones were also launched, and these zones consist of one or more municipalities with concentration of ARC population to achieve the greater agro productivity. Ang na po siya Agrarian Justice. Then kang President Benigno Aquino III, 6 years, 2010 to 2016, President Aquino III vowed during his 2012 State of the Nation address that he would complete before the end of his term the CARP, the centerpiece program of the administration of his mother, President Aquino. Okay. Under his administration, the Agrarian Reform Community Connectivity and Economic Support Services, or the ARCSES project, was created to contribute to the overall goal of the rural poverty reduction, especially in agrarian reform areas. Then the APCP, or the Agrarian Production Credit Program, provided credit support for crop production to the newly organized and existing Agrarian Reform Beneficiary Organization or mga ARBOs and the farmers organization that is not qualified to avail themselves of loans under the regular credit windows of the banks. Okay, then the legal case monitoring system. This is a web-based legal system for recording and monitoring the various kinds of agrarian cases at the provincial, regional, and central offices of the DAR. So aside from initiatives, Aquino also enacted the EO 26 series of 2011 to mandate the Department of Agriculture, DADNR, DAR Convergence Initiative to develop a national greening program in cooperation with other agencies. Now, kang President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, 2016 to present. So under his leadership, the President wants to pursue an aggressive land reform program that would help alleviate the life of poor Filipino farmers by prioritizing the provision of support services alongside land contribution. So the President directed the DAR to launch the second phase of the agrarian reform, where landless farmers would be awarded with undistributed lands under the CARP. Duterte plans to place almost all the public lands, including military services, under agrarian reform. And the President also placed 400 hectares of the agricultural lands in Boracay, under CARP. So under his administration also, the DAR created an anti-corruption task force to investigate and handle the reports of alleged anomalous activities by officials and employees of the department. The department also pursue an Plan Zero backlog, the resolution of cases in relation to agrarian justice, delivery of the Agrarian Reform Program to fast-track the implementation of the CAR. So nanita sa Republic Act 8435 or the Agriculture and Fishery Modernization Act of 1997 or the AFMA. So the title, it is also known as the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act of 1997. So Section 2, Declaration of Policy. The goals of the national economy are a more equitable distribution of opportunities, income, and the wealth. Republic Act 8425, mao ni ang Social Reform and Poverty Alleviation Act. This is an act institutionalizing the Social Reform and Poverty Alleviation Program, creating for the purpose of the National Anti-Poverty Commission, defining its powers and functions, and for other purposes. 8425. Ang Presidential Decree 1144, this is creating the Fertilizers and Pesticides Authority and abolishing the Fertilizer Industry Authority. FPA, no? Fertilizer and Pesticide Authority. Mo ni ang mga pest control laws. Crop insurance po nato, Republic Act 8165, 75. This act shall be known as the revised charter of the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation Act of 1995 or kanang gitawag nato nga PCIC, Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation. RA 7900, mao ni ang mga High Value Crops Development Act of 1995. This is an act to promote the production, processing, marketing, and distribution of the high-valued crops, providing funds therefore and for other purposes. The PRC and the Board of Agriculture. Okay. Creation, PRC Resolution number 2663. This is the creation of the Board of Agriculture under the Professional Regulation Commission and for other purposes. Wala ang agriculture karon na nanay board exam. So kaningalo 2000 nga dapat na board exam ang agriculture. So under gyapon na siya sa Republic Act 8435 nga AFMA na PRC resolution na nga ginabuhat 2000-663. Okay. PRC is the Philippine Professional Regulation Commission. Okay. So and those are the law of agriculture sector. And again, according to Benjamin Franklin, laws too gentle are seldom obeyed, too severe seldom executed. And of course, our sources, and that's the end of our discussion for the agricultural and economic growth, the agriculture and related laws. So I hope you understand for our discussion this morning, and God bless and good luck in your final exam. So thank you for listening.